Hey everyone! So today's lecture is something not very exciting, but super important, and it will save you tons of headaches in the future. So today we are talking about file management and maintenance. And I figured let's just start this early in the semester, so hopefully you start building good habits so you don't get a big headache later on trying to find a file. So let's take a look at what I've got to say. So, when working in Photoshop, super important to stay organized as you create files. Now, usually I create a folder for each client or project. And me personally, I have folders by years also. So I'll have a 2021 folder with a folder for my client. And as I'm working with stuff for them, I'll put it in there because as I'll get to in a little bit, at the end of the year, I like to do a big sweep and clean out and get everything organized. So that's how I do it. I have a 2021 folder, then the clients I'm working on. Now within that client folder or project folder, so if I'm doing multiple projects with a client, I have a folder just for that project. I'll have a folder for working files, which usually has, let's say, any type of photos they've given me, graphics such as logos, any information. Sometimes there's like a Word doc that comes with, we need a flyer with this following information on here, stuff like that. That all goes into a working files folder. Then I make a folder for the web files that I'll be creating, such as specific graphics for Facebook or a website, Instagram, whatever, and then print files. So if they want to print out posters, do postcards, stuff like that, I have all their files there. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, can I just print, a graphic I make for Facebook as a postcard? No, we're going to get into that later in the semester, but the resolution and color spaces for web files and print files are different, and your files won't look good if you make, let's say, a file for Facebook. If you try to print that as a postcard, it's not going to look nearly as good as it could look if you used the correct resolutions and color spaces. So we'll get into that later in the semester, but just know that it is important to design for each. All right. So something else that's important. Well, you know what? Actually, let me just show you real quick what I'm talking about before we keep moving, because maybe this might help, cement this in your brain a little bit. All right, so this is a folder just for one exhibition. I used to be a gallery manager and publicity director at an art gallery, and we had exhibitions all the time, and we needed to create all kinds of different graphics and such, on top of a bunch of other stuff, but I'm just going to focus on graphics today. So this was for a 2018 exhibition. So I have artwork labels, exhibition graphics, financials, photos, videos, promo files, sponsors, submissions. This was all part of planning this, but what we're going to look at is promo files. So within this promo files folder, I have even more folders. So here's that working files. So I've got the artwork that they wanted for the front. This is the winner of the previous year's exhibition. So different versions of that. They kept giving me different versions. I ended up I think photographing it myself because their versions weren't really working out. A previous logo from another year that I think we ended up using after all. So, this is the stuff that they gave me to work with. From there, I have web files. So, you could see that I have 1 by 1, so that's square. That usually means square. I have my PSD file, my original Photoshop file in here. I have ads for specific places that they wanted to run ads, Facebook stuff. For Square is actually for Square, the POS system, the point of sale system, not, Square. But this was for their email system and such. Twitter, website. We have different things for different websites. Another ad down here. So you can see, I already have probably about 20 files here, and this is just for the web stuff. So it gets really important to make sure that you're naming everything also. This is actually something I'll be going over in just a sec. And then, all right, so I also have my print files. So let's open this up a little bit. I have my mailing list for the print files in Excel, postcard, back and front, my Illustrator file for the postcard, posters, so 8 by 11, 11 by 17. That's really important to make sure you're including sizes. You don't want a client to ask for an 8.5 and 11 poster and then you accidentally send them an 11 by 17 file. Something else I'd like to do is, sometimes people like to print, 4 small flyers on an 8.5 by 11. So then I would put in the title 4 up. That's the terminology that I use, at least, to show that there's going to be 4 on this 8 by 11 poster. And even video. I mean, we're going to be working with video a little bit later in the semester, but having all this stuff is organized. So I've got my video working files. So like I have my working files here. I have a working files folder just for my video. Here is all the different files that I use. Everything from my audio, my raw video shots, any type of graphics I ended up putting in there, and they're corresponding. So like here's some PNGs. Let's see, so stuff about our location, all this different kind of stuff, and PSC, so the video text, all of that to make, I think, where does it say, a 45-second video, so that's just how it goes. Yeah, so you can kind of see that there's a whole lot of files that get involved really fast when you're working on design projects, so it's really important to keep them organized. So let's go back and see if I missed anything. So just something in case you didn't know, when you create a file in Photoshop, the file extension is .psd, so that is one way to know which one is your original Photoshop file. When you save these Photoshop files, it saves with all of the layers in there, so if you need to go back and make a change, you can open the Photoshop file and do all that stuff. So your working file, your PSD file, is really important. I've gotten kind of out of the habit of this, but when I was first starting out, it made it easier, especially if you need to search your computer real quick for your working files. You can add working to the end. So example, 2021 December exhibition working.psd. And another tip is to use underscores instead of spaces. Now, yes, we can use spaces, but some websites, when you are using, especially if you are using more of a customized website that's using HTML coding and such, some websites and servers and services don't like having a space. It will fill in spaces with a percentage sign or something, and it can kind of mess up what's going on when you're trying to work on a website. So for that reason, even if you're not working on a website, if someday someone needs your files for a website or wants to use them, just be kind and get in the habit of using underscores instead of a space. Okay, what else? So as you export files, name them for how they will be used. So I showed you, in that example what I meant. Underscore website header, underscore website blog post, just get as descriptive as you can so that when you're in a rush trying to work, you're not searching and opening and trying to figure out what is what. It will especially keep you organized and help you look really professional if you start working with a marketing team or other people, if some kind of group dynamic. If you can send these out and they are named in a way that is easy to tell what they're for, it'll make you look good. So do that. Okay, so for the second part, I'm going to quickly talk about file maintenance. So a really important part about file maintenance is organizing your stray files and backing up your files. So what do I mean by this? Sometimes when we're working, you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to download this real fast, just save it to the desktop or or it's in the downloads folder or whatever. And you have a deadline, so you're working quick. So those are what I call stray files that kind of get left in wherever they were. And it's a really great idea to organize as you go. Okay, so even if you can't do it in that moment, maybe once a week, take a look through those downloads folder, take a look through your desktop, and see what you can organize in that moment so it doesn't build up and start become a big cluttery mess and start driving you crazy and get unorganized. Especially gonna make you look professional if someone emails you and says, hey, remember that file I sent you? I accidentally deleted it. Do you have it? And you're like, yes, I got it. I know where it is. Send it off and they'll love you forever. Now, I understand that sometimes you can't do this and things do start getting backed up. It happens to me all the time. I try to keep up. But I do try to do a complete cleaning once a year where I go through all these stray files on my desktop and my downloads folder, wherever else they might accumulate, and get them in the right place. And then I also move folders off of my hard drive at this point. So that kind of gets us into the backing up files portion of this lecture. So when it comes to digital files, they will be corrupted someday. Hard drives will fail. It is just the fact of how it is right now. Hopefully, we're going to figure out some kind of solution to this in the future because it kind of stresses me out. But until then, we do need to make multiple backups of our files to make sure that we don't lose our hard work. Okay, so this is my suggestion. Now, like I said, this is a suggestion, recommendation. What works for you might be different for your specific business, situation, whatever. You might have a different way of doing things that makes more sense, and that's fine. This is just a place for you to start off from and just to start thinking about these things. All right, so what I like to do, I like to keep my files that I'm actively working on my computer hard drive. This makes it easier for, Photoshop, Premiere, Illustrator, whoever, to pull these files up and work on them quickly. If you're trying to pull them like from a cloud or, most external hard drives do pretty good. It kind of depends on the quality of your external hard drive. Some of them are really fast, some of them are really slow. But if you keep them on your computer hard drive, then you should have pretty fast access. Now, I usually suggest 3 backups. So our first backup is an external hard drive. And this is also a backup, an external hard drive that I have set up for daily automatic backups of my computer. So that every day I know I have some, rest assured peace of mind that my files are somehow backed up if I haven't made copies to another place yet. Now, my second backup is an external hard drive, a whole nother external hard drive, just for my design files. And for me personally, I'm also a photographer, so it has basically my creative files. One hard drive, just creative files, that's it. And like I said, this is separate than the automatic backup hard drive. Then I have a third backup. My most important files are in a location that is separate from my other backups. Now, why is this? What if your house burns down, your apartment or whatever? Like, what if everything is lost? Having 3 backups is going to be pointless if they're all in the same location. So, back in the day, people would suggest making copies and putting them in a bank vault. Now we have cloud services. Yay! So I say use your cloud services. It's totally worth it. And I usually keep that for either files that I know I'm going to have to access from other computers, and my most important files, those are the files I put on my cloud service. Okay, so let's move this up here for a second. As you finish projects, move the project folder to your 3 backup locations. I know, it's a pain. But I make copies, I copy it to each of my hard drives and then also to my cloud service. And so the whole thing is there together in one place. Now, and sometimes, I'm going to be honest, this doesn't happen until that yearly clean out. I try not to put it off till then, but especially as you get closer to the end of the year, it's like, oh, I'm going to do it in 3 months anyway, so no worries. It happens, deadlines. So anyways, sometimes even all this doesn't work. I know, it sucks, but sometimes it doesn't. I have backed up corrupted files. I have, opened up a photo file and been like, oh man, it's corrupted. It won't open, or you try to open it and looks all crazy or something is funky. And so then I'll go to my other backup, and that one's corrupted. So here's something else: is I keep my hard drives. So like right now, I'm working off a 6 terabyte and a 3 terabyte hard drive. I have multiple hard drives from throughout the years. When I fill them up, I don't erase them. I put them in my closet, and then I buy a new one, and transfer everything from the old one to my new one, and then keep adding to that. So you can also go back to those old hard drives to pull stuff off if absolutely necessary. And something with the cloud to think about. Where is this cloud anyways? Okay, so the cloud is actually other computers, other servers somewhere else in the world, or usually in our region. So like, let's say you have all of your photos on, Google Cloud or Google Photos or something. Well, that's sitting on their computers, and they might have there might be some in like our region and area. And the whole thing is that they can bounce from location to location and be stored on all these different servers. But what if something huge happens? Will they be okay? I don't know. So we do all this to try our best, but sometimes it still doesn't work out. It's the harsh reality of working in the digital world. And to be honest, we've only been in this world where digital files are the norm for not very long. 20 years? I mean, yeah. So there's going to be huge advancements and changes. I might have to rewrite this whole lecture in a year. Who knows? But just all of these things are just things for you to keep aware of and to think about, and try your best with backing up your files. Alright guys, I hope that didn't scare you. The most important thing to remember is to keep organized with your file management, to keep organized with folders and good naming conventions, and to back up your files one way or another. Alright, have a great day, and like I said, hopefully I didn't scare you.